Today we'll be covering a standard opening for Finder of Paths Unseen. Now, Finder is one of the few spirits whose complexity is very high, and you can see this is a one-trick pony. It is all about control. In fact, it has negative offense, which is due to its responsibilities to the dead, which makes it destroy its own presence if it ever directly or even indirectly destroys an invader. So there are a lot of different openings available for Finder. The one that I'm going to propose really leans into its left innate, which doubles down on what we're showing here. It's all about control. I really like Finder's left innate, which is lay paths that cannot help but walk, because it allows you to push additional invaders as well as half of the invaders. So it's a half plus one. And if you're able to threshold it later in the game to repeat it again, then you'll be moving a ton of invaders. So on turn one, I like to add a presence from the top track, uncovering the sun element and gaining an extra card play. I will then play Paths Tied by Nature and a Circuitous and Winding Journey. However, depending on the board, sometimes I like to substitute Circuitous with Traveler's Boon. If you do this, we're just going to swap the cards on turn two. Now, either way, I'm going to get the elements I need to hit the second tier of Lay Paths That Cannot Help But Walk to push one invader, Dahan, Presence, or Beast. Now, it says one of any of those, but generally speaking, I'm only pushing invaders. It's very rare that I'm pushing Dahan or Presence or other things. On turn two, I'm going to G2 again, adding a presence from the middle track, which will give me an energy per turn as well as a moon element. I'll then play Offer Passage Between Worlds and Traveler's Boon. But again, if I played Traveler's Boon in the previous turn, I will instead substitute it for a Circuitous and Winding Journey. With these cards and the elements that I've unlocked on my presence track, I can then hit both the first and second tier of my left innate, which will again allow me to push half plus one, rounding down. On turn three, we're going to G4, adding a presence again from that middle track, and this will give us a air element as well as a free movement of a presence. Now, the move presence 1 is very useful because our lay paths they cannot help but walk has a range of 0. So now every turn I'll be able to move my presence where it needs to be so I can get these pushes out. And gaining the 2 energy will allow us to play Aid from the Spirit Seekers. This is another control card, and we'll be able to hopefully solve another land with it. With that card, we'll be able to hit the second tier of lay paths that cannot help but walk. And the one thing I'll point out here is the reason I'm going in this order is because I'm getting the sun, moon, and wind elements on my presence track. This is going to make hitting the tiers on the left innate so much easier. On turn 4, I'm going to add a presence, finally getting our first extra card play that is not coming from our growth options. And we're going to be gaining a minor power. Now, in this minor power, we're going to be looking for sun, moon, water, or earth elements, which I'll explain shortly. We're going to be playing Ways of Shore and Heartland. This is going to give us a wind, water, earth, and we'll also play our minor power. You pair those elements with the elements we've unlocked on our track, and that means we're just one element shy of a lot of these thresholds. So if we gain a moon element, that'll let us hit the first tier of lay paths that cannot help but walk. A sun will give us the second tier. And likewise, a water element will give us the first tier we need for Close the Ways. And an earth will give us the second tier. So preferably, if you're able to draft a minor power that has multiple of these elements, then you're going to be hitting multiple tiers of these innate powers. Now on turn 5, you're going to reclaim, gain a minor power card, but I want to point out something here that I've highlighted in red, the tracks that we have chosen to uncover. Now from here on out, you're pretty much able to go wherever you want to go. If you want an extra card play, you're one away from it. You can get extra energy, range, a free push of a town or city. That's very cool. I'm always a fan of getting the water and the earth elements, which will allow me to threshold Close the Ways more easily. But it's really up to you. What do you need? what problems do you need to solve on your board, and based on whatever you need, pick the path that makes the most sense. What are force multipliers for the spirit? Card draws are very useful because you're able to avoid the reclaim loop more consistently. Especially once you unlock that third card play, you'll be playing 3 cards per turn, and you'll very quickly find yourself having to reclaim more, which means you're not placing presence. And placing presence is probably the most important thing for this spirit, which is why I've added proliferation as the second bullet point. If I just go back one, you'll notice that every single thing on this track is important. It's impactful. And so being able to play more presence means that I am going to be more powerful. So every spirit benefits from adding additional presence. And there's Gift of Proliferation, which is a unique power card from a Spread of Rampant Green, but there's also some event cards. There's a minor power card that is available in one of the expansions that lets you add presence from your presence tracks. So there's a couple different ways to do it, but Finder is one of the spirits that I would say benefits most from additional presence placement. As far as tips go, Finder is going to be really good at emptying its lands, but it's not actually solving any problems. It's just passing the buck to another spirit, and they'll have to then solve it. So these are a couple spirits that I highly recommend you pair with. They're able to scale well, even with additional towns and cities that might be thrown into their lands. My other tip is once you feel comfortable with the spirit, go ahead and start exploring the other openings, other builds. Have fun with the spirit. It's a really fun spirit, though admittedly, if you get tired of just pushing things around and not actually destroying, then you might have to take a break and switch to another spirit that is more offense focused. This is a summary of my standard opening for Finder of Paths Unseen. I hope this was helpful, and good luck defending the island.